What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boosted here. Just want to talk to you guys today a little bit about a review on my car. It's been about a year since I got it. Wanted to do a review on it, let you know what I like, what I don't like, and what maybe I would change, as well as a little insight on buying an STI and what the competition currently looks like. All right, let's get into it. On it, I bought it for $33,000. I'll be up front, $33,000 with 11,000 miles on it. So I got very lucky. It was a diamond in the rough. I found it and I got it pretty quickly. So 1 year of ownership, and I'm going to list you guys off some positives and some negatives. I'll probably start with the negatives first because, hey, let's hear the bad news, then the good news. Put the icing on top, you know? So I'll start by saying some of these negatives I'll list are going to be able to be spun as a positive. I think that you really can find some positivity out of the negatives. So let's get right into it. So the first negative I'll say on this vehicle is the engine. The engine is very old, therefore the fuel economy and the overall economic value of this vehicle is kind of but way below average. I mean, not many people understand. I've talked to many of people and they never understand when I tell them that this 4-cylinder is a gas guzzler. Okay, I know some trucks that get better gas mileage than this old girl. So I mean, if you looked at your buyer's guide, then you kind of knew going in, and if you did your research, which most buyers do, then you probably knew what you were getting into. But as a daily, I must complain and say it's a negative by saying I'm getting anywhere from 17 to 18 miles to the gallon, maybe 19 on average, and the best I've ever seen is about 23 to 24. Okay, and that is going on the highway for a long trip and it's flat roads and you're about 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. So yeah, I have to give the first negative to fuel economy. Now where you could spin the positive potentially on this is you can say, well, it's a sports car. It's what you paid for. It's what you wanted. You wanted something that was fast. I mean, you don't have the big wang for nothing, and you got these big old Brimbos. So this thing was mean to start with, and you knew that it would be quick, and you knew that it probably wouldn't be the most economic. But the reason why it's mainly a negative is because you look at the Type Rs, you look at the new vehicles that are sports cars being made, and let's just be real, they get pretty daggone good fuel economy. Even the newest WRX is going to be, you know, you could probably get 30 miles to the gallon on the highway. So that's the reason why I'm going to call it a negative, and there's really no arguing it, I don't think, at this point. But if it's your weekend car, then maybe you don't really care because you're only taking it out once in a while and you're not driving it very long. So kudos to you if it is your weekend car. We're not quite there yet on my channel. So the next negative I'm going to say, and like I said, you probably can make a positive out of this, is the ride, the way it rides. It's very, very rough. It's very raw, okay? The suspension's track tuned, and this isn't no Veloster N. You know, this is no Type R. You can't adjust it. You are stuck with exactly how it feels unless you go, I don't know, upgrading suspensions and messing with your ride height. But if you're like me and you haven't really touched that part of it, then it's raw. It's a very raw experience. Anything over about 2 hours of driving and you're 100% gonna be uncomfortable. I know because I drove it for 4 hours and I was begging to get out of the driver's seat. Very uncomfortable. Now, if it's your weekend car, I mean, who cares? You like the rawness. Maybe it's your track car. So the whole point you buy this vehicle, and I'm sure many of you have been on auto blogs and, you know, Car and Driver magazine, and you know that the enthusiast part of this vehicle is the rawness, the hydraulic steering, the track tuned suspension, the big wing, all the performance that makes it what it is why you bought it. So I'll make that into a positive by saying, depending on what you're using the car for, it's a positive. And I really wouldn't get rid of the rawness sometimes. I mean, it's a negative in my book, but still, like, I wouldn't trade it. I would keep it just to have the car how it is in its natural form. So another negative is going to be the expense to ownership. And I'll just start by saying I just replaced the tires and it was about $1,000 for the 19-inch tires. These are not any kind of Sport Pilot Cup 2s or whatever, man. It's not any kind of fancy tire. It's a Yokohama Apex tire, and it was relatively priced. It's not the worst, it's not the best, and I still spent $1,000. So cost of ownership is definitely going to be a negative. God forbid you have to replace those Brembo pads. I'm sure that's over $1,000 per set. And of course your LED headlights and whatnot. So cost of ownership is definitely a negative, and you can put MPG right into that same exact category. Now let's go into the positives, because I want to definitely not necessarily end on a high note, but I want to give you guys, like I said, my raw feedback, my brutally honest feedback of this car. The positive is this thing is so unique, okay? There are not many STIs on the road. I hardly ever see an STI, and when I do, I get so happy. I see some WRXs here and there. That's kind of normal. I'm sure you guys see a lot of WRXs. But seeing an STI is always a treat. There's not many of them. There's just not. The market that they serve is pure enthusiasts and track vehicles. So you just don't see a lot of them. Mustangs, see a lot of Mustangs. But yeah, I mean, it's great to have a unique car that you can honestly say draws people's attention and makes people ask you questions. What is it? What kind of car is that? How much horsepower is it? Holy crap, look at those brakes. I mean, the list goes on and on as to people that are gonna ask you about it, and it's such a great talking point, especially at car meets, or you know going out to the coast, or going on a nice little trip in the vehicle and going to the local bars. Whatever you do in the vehicle, it's a great talking point. And I can't tell you how many times I'll pull up to a gas station and just have numerous people, hey man, nice car, hey bro, what is that? Oh hey man, I've always wanted one of those. You never know who's gonna come up to you, what they're gonna say, and it's a great talking point. So yeah, definite positive. If you have an STI, hold on to it. Hold on to the vehicle. I would say another positive is also going to be just keeping up with the flow of traffic. A car that can get you out of some trouble. A car that you can get around and not have to get into bad situations in. Having the extra power, having the bigger brakes are always a plus in my book. I mean, I can't tell you, those Brembos, like not even 2 weeks ago, those Brembos saved me from bumping into somebody from the rear. They slammed their brakes on me. If I hadn't had the big brakes, I probably would have been, that would have been it for my car. So, and I'll be honest about it, the Brembos saved me. So, yeah, so the vehicle itself, it has some features in the sportiness of the vehicle that actually make it a little bit safer. Let's see, what else? What other positives do I have? I think we can go ahead and put the major spin on the connectivity and go ahead and just call that a positive as well. Because if this is your weekend car, then having the connectivity to the road and the hydraulic steering make it such a treat to drive. Not many cars use hydraulic steering anymore. So when people get into your car and they check it out, or if you have your friends that drive a manual and they drive it, it's just a huge treat. I mean, it's so fun to drive. It is absolutely a blast. The exhaust sounds out the back, the quick shifting. You put it all together and it's just an absolutely fun vehicle. So I guess what I want to end the review on is to say, would I go back and buy a different vehicle? And my honest opinion is no. I would not go and change anything that I did. In fact, the only thing I would change if I could would be to get a Type RA. I would have snagged one of those if I knew, but I would not change it. Then there are some pretty heavy negatives, but I think the positives, even when you spend them, they outweigh it. And I think as a vehicle that's not going to be made anymore, this vehicle will be kept in the family, cherished in my heart, and something that I can always look back on and be happy about and be proud to own. And I'm sure the value will keep going up. So if you have one, hold on to it. Do not get rid of it. Keep it. If you don't have one, I would venture to say waiting on the market to stabilize before you try to grab one, because it's just absolutely crazy right now to get one. I mean, I got mine for $33,000 with 11,000 miles on it. And right now with 26,000 miles on it, I could probably still get $40,000 at least out of the vehicle. I mean, it's absolutely crazy right now. So, the only thing I want to weigh in on, just as this video comes to a close, is Subaru and their future. I think that Subaru didn't make this vehicle for this year because they knew it was behind. They knew it wasn't going to get the horsepower or the fuel economy that they promised or led us all to believe. So the future of the STI is definitely up in the air in question. But right now, I think the competitors, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, all of them are making better driving, better cars, faster cars, more fuel efficient cars, more feature friendly cars. I mean, heck, the new Type R, you know, it's got everything. It's got red floor, it's got a wireless charging pad, it's getting, you know, it can probably get up to 30 miles to the gallon. I mean, Subaru fell behind, and I think they bowed this one out because they knew what was going to happen. So the station of the car market, yeah, it's jacked up. If you really do want an STI, I'd wait. But right now, I mean, Type R is coming out, GR Corolla is coming out, the 400Z, you name it. There's a lot of great options on the table. And for the price range you'd pay for a used STI, God forbid a 2021 STI, yeah, you might as well get something faster, more fuel efficient, and more comfortable to drive. And it's not like this is the end of the line or the end of the legacy of the STI. I think that they're going to make some good changes eventually. But taking away the raw nature, taking away the exhaust sounds, taking away a lot of it, it is going to be hard to say goodbye to that. And I think this car will definitely end up being a classic. It's definitely something you should hold on to. And I wish Subaru all the luck in the world whenever they make the new STIs. I hope that it's a great competitor to what's coming out. But right now, Subaru is behind, and it's unfortunate, but everyone's doing it a little bit better. So with that, I'll close the video and say thanks for watching. I wish you luck in your searches for an STI if you're getting one. And if you do have an STI, keep it, love it, take good care of it. And if you ever in the future need to sell it, at least know that it'll be worth a pretty penny. Appreciate you guys.